Hey guys, I wanted to show y'all my library. So this is my library. I've got my regular books and a sofa with a sleeping cat. You know, all the things a library needs. Apparently I really needed the sleeping cat. It totally makes it comfy and homey. Anyways, this is a set of bookshelves that are my favorite. They are all of my New Age, Pagan, Wiccan, Magic books to things on, astral travel, metaphysics, you name it, I've probably got a book on it. In brief, from this right here all the way to here is all books on Celtic stuff. Everything from Celtic folklore and spellcraft to Celtic myth to, Celtic inspiration books to the Celtic traditions, Celtic magic, so forth. 2 miscellaneous books that couldn't go anywhere else. And then from here to here are books on nocturnal witchcraft and moon magic and things like that. 2 books on wizardry. And then from here to here are books on animals, spirit animals, and animal interpretations, meanings, animal guides, spirit guides, so forth. That one's one of the wizard books, and this is a shamanism book. So then with the shamanism, we go from here. I know you can't see that real well, but from right here all the way to here, all of those are on shamanism. This is where it starts getting cool. This book, let me see, this book, I thought there was another one or 2. No, I guess it's just those. Okay, that book, and that book are all from my mom. Like, they were in her book collection first, not like she bought them for me. Those were in her collection, and it makes me giggle. From here, all the way to here, you have everything from green witchcraft, hedge witchery, garden witchcraft, natural witchcraft, elemental magic. It's all kind of in the same genre, I guess you could say. Elemental magic, and then I've even got 2 on ocean magic and 1 on connecting with natural elementals and fairy, basically. And then these are considered old school magic books. They kind of tie in with hedge witchery and stuff. This one is pretty cool. Eden McCoy's Mountain Magic. And while I don't care for Silver Ravenwolf, this is her American folk magic. This is actually based on this tradition, powwows. And this is, again, where it gets kind of neat. This book was given to me by my great-grandmother. The lady inside, right here, is my great-great-great-grandmother, who had a different copy of this book and used it for healing people and was actually arrested for witchcraft. If you go by that, I'm a 6th-generation witch, which is really, really cool. My great-grandmother bought it, Norma Schaefer, in 1976 when she found it, and told me all sorts of cool things about my great-great-great-grandmother. Anyways, this tradition, called powwow, was common in Pennsylvania Dutch. In fact, my great-great-great-grandmother was called a powwow doctor. Is what Silver and Ravencraft has dubbed American folk magic, which is kind of what it was, but a little bit more to it than that. But that's the only reason I own that book. I own a few of her other books, but that was from days before I realized how horrible of her material was. Inaccuracy. Okay, so this shelf goes into things like a progression of stages in witchcraft. So it starts off with like the big buckling book that normally doesn't fit on a shelf, to like studies. So like these are for training materials for, like degree systems in Wicca. Like here I have Witch School 1 and 2. Then I have things like this self-initiation, which actually has like lesson plans. These are considered a little bit more advanced books. Then I have things on teaching Wicca, spiritual mentoring, things like that. Then like all of these are rites of passage and doing rituals for a group. And then you have covencraft and spellworking for covens, and then that one's actually in the wrong place. It goes over a couple books. And then these are all on Wiccan covens and groups and things like that. And these ones are creating your own traditions and your own rituals based on such. And here's a really fun one. What is your Wicca IQ? It actually tells you what level of a degree system you would be classed as. A dedicant, a first degree, a second degree, a third degree. First degree would be you've learned all the basics. Second degree is considered a priestess or priest. Third degree is you're like the high priest or high priestess if you were in a coven. Then you got things like, this is like for doing chants and songs in a coven, teaching children in Wicca, and like pagan parenting. I'm not a parent, but I have them as references. Down here we have reference books. So like the Magical Creatures book. Buckland's other big giant book. This one's a spirit communication. And then I've got books on the Sabbats and seasonal stuff. Then books on symbols and omens and miscellaneous things. And then we've got books on stones and incense and oils and herbs and colors. And then like all of this right here, I guess from here over is all healing books. And again, this is where it gets cool. This one, this one, this one, and this one. So these four are all from my great-grandmother because she was really into spiritual healing and energy healing. So that's pretty neat. Alright, I'm going to skip that bottom shelf for now. And we've got books on clergy stuff, so dealing with pastoral stuff, and some reference books for people who don't understand Wicca. Books keep wanting to fall over. The Book of Hours or prayer books, a ministry's manual or minister's manual, books on doing hand fastings and weddings, everything you could possibly need to know for being clergy. Some miscellaneous spiritual books that had nowhere else to go. Then down here, we have like learning Wicca. So we have things like, The Idiot's Guide to Paganism. It's got Cunningham's 2 books on what Wicca is, and then so forth and so forth and so forth on what is witchcraft and paganism. And these are a little bit more of the, once you've read those and learning a little bit more. So these right here are all on like people who've had experiences in witchcraft and so forth. And then you've got other interesting books that are just on their own. Here's my other 2 Silver Ravenwolf books. This one I've had it since I was 13. It was the first witchcraft book my mother bought me. And that one I had to have because when I was 7 years old, I really thought that cat was cute, and my mom hung out in the metaphysical section, so I kept asking to have this book, and finally one day she bought it. Down here we have nothing but spell books. Everything from, elemental spell books to moon spells. In fact, these 2 are moon magic books. Spell-a-day almanacs, miscellaneous books on spells and charms, and I even have one on voodoo. I think I have another book on voodoo. I guess it's not unpacked. Crap, I don't hope I have any more books. And yet another one by Silver Ravenwolf. I have this one because I like her wording for spells. And it has a lot of stuff in it that I like wording to. And then Encyclopedia of Witchcraft. Down here, everything on fortune telling, from generic fortune telling to astrology to runes and dream work, and then miscellaneous books like on coin divination and pendulums and crystal gazing. Down below, all of my decks. The books associated with said decks, along with some miscellaneous books on learning tarot and learning cards, and a couple of fortune-telling systems that run fine on their own. And then the shelf where nothing else could go, and so it got stuck down here. Old books like from my great-grandmother on how to read auras. I still think it's really cool. She wrote her name and what year she bought everything, and then how much she paid for it. So I got a lot of books like that. Like, that one was actually from my mom. So miscellaneous things that I couldn't figure out where to put ended up here. And in this pile is all my psychic books. I think all of these but one book was from my mom when she got into her psychic craze. This is an entire stack, well, except this psychic book. All the rest of this is an entire stack of pagan magazines. Because I really like to read miscellaneous books and magazines, and especially articles. I love pagan articles. Hence what's behind here. Behind all these books are Llewellyn's Magical Almanacs, dating from 1990, the very first issue, all the way up to 2013. I haven't bought 2014 yet. As well as the Witch's Companion books, which is another Llewellyn's kind of almanacs. I like them for the articles, because you can learn more out of these, especially the older ones, than you will in some of these books. Because it's the little weird tidbit information that you're not going to learn anywhere else. That's what's really cool about it. So that's all of the books that are on my 2 bookshelves here that are my entire collection. And then, because I ran out of room, my mythology books and like fairy tale books and stuff. I say fairy tale, but they're related to like Native American fairy tales. It's like their mythology stories and such. And things on world religions are all over here, along with a collection of Bibles, because, well, I really think you should know your Bible too. You can't decide what you really want unless you know it all. So I've got some stuff on mythology and even a book on, like, I even have one on Hinduism, just for the sake of having it. So that is all where that stuff is. And then, way up here, books on the paranormal and the unexplained. And 3 books from my great-grandmother on visions and prophecies, phantom encounters, and mystic places. They kind of go in more with paranormal than with my metaphysics books. And they didn't quite fit over here, so they got shoved on another shelf for now. But yeah, like I even have some over here. Like I said, needed more room. Need another shelf almost, or a whole other bookshelf. These are ones like, these are called the Truth About series. So they're on things like witchcraft and neo-paganism and hypnosis and different types of magic and birth charts and ritual magic and herbal magic, and they're really cool little mini reads. So they kind of got shoved over here on this little fake grandfather clock that's mostly decoration. But yeah, that's my library. Before I opened up the last 3 boxes, I stopped counting at 230 books, which I think I've definitely surpassed. I'm not about to count them. Eventually I plan to log them so I know which books I have and which books I don't have. Because even though I own all these books, there's still a whole bunch I still don't have and still want. Because one thing about witchcraft is you can never stop learning. Never. I mean, there's always something new to learn, and there's always something new to experience. So that is the reason for all these books. Yes, I could have 3 books and probably do fine. But I believe you should always be able to have access to the knowledge. So that's what's up with all these books. I'd love to know what kinds of books y'all have in y'all's collection. Whether you only have 1 book or you have 10. Or if you have as many as I do, take a video clip and I'd like to see it too. Or if you have books that you really, really want and don't yet have, write a list of those. I'd like to see what books you're interested in. Because obviously, like, I have books on subjects that I thought were really cool, and, you know, I might not actually practice it, but they're fun to learn about later, kind of thing. So that's, you know, kind of my deal here is I love knowledge. Most witches do. And most witches, you know, hope one day to have a library like this. I just got lucky that some of these books were from my mom's collection. She gave them to me as I got older, and some of them were from my great-grandmother. And, you know, that this is kind of my family's thing. And my mom bought me most of these as I was growing up. I've been collecting them since I was 13. I'm now 27, so that's over 10 years worth of collecting books. So, yeah. So let me know what you have and don't have and want. I want to hear it. I want to see them. All right. This is GypsySeaWitch signing.